Hello, I'm Miss Kennedy, an artist in schools with the San Joaquin County Office of Education. And during this coronavirus outbreak, I'm staying home and safe with my art supplies and a stack of books. And I'm visiting museums by going online. So today I'd like to talk to you about the grid system. And the grid system is a great way to transfer images onto other things or to make images bigger or smaller. So, raise your hand if you've ever heard of Michelangelo. Not the Ninja Turtle. The artist Michelangelo. All the Ninja Turtles were named after famous artists. Michelangelo was known for the Sistine Chapel, among other things. Here's a famous image from the Sistine Chapel. Here you see visitors looking at the Sistine Chapel ceiling, where there are all these incredible paintings that Michelangelo did. Now what he did was he drew things out on paper, much smaller than they were on the ceiling, and then he had to transfer those images up onto the ceiling. He used a grid system. So let me show you how that works. I selected a picture. I took a picture of a rubber ducky off the internet, and I put it on a piece of paper, and then I drew a grid on it. So these are squares, and I have columns that go up and down that are labeled A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And then I have rows that go across that are numbered 1 through 8. And then I have a piece of paper where I've done a grid, but the squares are all bigger. So now this is what I'm going to do. I look at each square and I'm just going to draw the shape of the line that I see there. So square 1A has nothing in it. I don't need to do anything in square 1A. Square 1B has nothing in it. Don't need to do anything there. Square 1C does have some of the duck in there. And I'm going to look to see where that starts in square 1C, and I see it begin about here and then come to about there. So I've made points on that square. And now I'm going to connect the line. And then I'm going to look at square 1D, and I do see that there's something in there, and it comes down to about here. And I'm going to make that line. I'm going to look at square 2D, and do you see how there's that triangle of shape right there? I'm just going to make that triangle of shape right there. I'm not thinking that it's going to turn into a duck. I'm just thinking of that square and the shape of the line in that square. So now I am on square E2, and I look at the shape that's in there. I see that the line from D2 continues in E2 and comes down to about there in the square, and then I'm going to connect that. I'm going to look at square E3 and see where that shape from the duck comes down to about here, and then I'm going to connect that. I'm just worrying about the square that I am in. I'm going to look at square E4, and that's where the shape gets a little more complicated. It curves in here, and then it's sort of a straight shape that goes up a little bit, and then a triangle up to there. And that's what I see in that one square. Now I'm going to come over to square 4F. 4F. Okay, I'm counting that, checking it. And I'm looking at the shape. Oh, and what I like about that is on my picture, that part of the rubber ducky goes right up to that line. So I know it has to come up here. It's going to make a sort of triangle shape there. And I am looking at the positive space of where the rubber duck is and the negative space that is just space to help me make my shapes. So there's my shape in square 4F. Now I'm going to go to 4G and see how there's a little triangle shape there. I'm going to go like that. I'm now coming to square 5G, and I'm just going to look at that shape there. So I think it comes down to about there. See how I'm using the lines to sort of help measure things? Now I'm going to come to square 6 G right here. And I'm going to look at that shape, and it looks like it comes all the way out here and then comes back in here. So I'm going to come around like that. And now I'm going to go down to square 7G, and look at the shape there. And then I'm going to look at 7F, 7F. And I see that it comes to about there. It's going to meet the line there, so I'm just going to go like that. Now I'm coming to square 8E, 8E, and I'm looking at the shape of the rubber duck in there. So it comes in 8E, here we are, 8E. I have to get that line, and I forgot to do the line in 7. There, I've corrected that. That was confusing me. Not doing that confused me. Okay, so 8E, 8E. That shape is sort of like that. And now I'm going to look at 8D. And I like that. It's sort of like a smile line. So I'm just going to make a smile line in there. And then 8C. It comes from that smile line and comes to about here. So see how I'm putting that dot there to tell me where to do that line? So I'm going to do that. And now I'm going to look at 8B. And it just has a little bit of that rubber ducky in the corner up there. And let's see, do I need to worry about 8A? Nope, there's nothing in the 8A square, so I don't need to put anything in there. I do need to put something, though, in 7B. And then I need to do something in 7A. And then let's look at 6A. Yes, I need to do something in 6A and 5A. There's a little bit there that I need to put in there in 5A. And now I'm going to look at 5B. And to me, I see that shape sort of comes and swoops down. So that's what I'm going to do. Now I'm looking at 4B. It gets a little more complicated there. So here I am at 4B. It's going to come in a little bit, but then it's going to come out into 4A just a little bit. And then it's going to come back into 4B. And then it's going to come back out into 4A. Up into, now I'm not going to worry about, I'm going to stay right there. I was getting ahead of myself. I'm going to stay there in 4A. That's what I see in the 4A square. Now I'm going to go up to the 3A square. And I see a little bit of that ducky in the 3A square. And now I'm going to come up to the 3B square. I'm going to come in a little bit. And then there's a curved line for the side of that duck's face. I'm going to mark where I think it's going to come into the line where row 3 and 2 meet. And now I'm going to do square 2B. And I have the shape of my duck. I need to fine tune it though. There's more details I need to get from my rubber duck that has the grid on it up here. So I'm going to fix this transition here. So I'm going to come into square 4D, and show how the line for the rubber duck's head and neck comes down into here. And then this line comes here. Does that make sense to you? Okay. Now I'm going to use the grid to show me where to put the ovals for the eyes. So this eye is in square 3B. So I'm coming to square 3B. And I see that the white part of the eye goes up into square 2B. So I'm going to make an oval for that. And then I'm going to make the oval for the black part of the eye. So there's one ducky eye. And now I'm going to come into square 3C to do that one. What's nice is the white part of the eye is resting, the top of it rests right there on the line that separates row 3 from 2. There we go. Now I'm going to fine tune the shape of the duck's bill. So I'm going to come to square 3B, and I want to get how that orange part comes up. And to me, I see it come here. I'm going to look at how it curves to here, and I'm going to go like that. I'm going to come into square 3C and come down like that. Now I'm coming into square 4C, and I'm going to go into square 4D just a little bit, and then come back into square 4C. And you see how that starts to become the duck's bill? Now I'm going to use my grid to show me where the top part of the bill and the bottom part of the bill meet. So I'm coming into square 4A and then into 4B, and I see it go like that. I see a faint line here in square 5F for a wing line. And that looks pretty much like the duck that I copied. So let me show you one that I did get going. So let's see. Here I have the duck on a piece of paper, and this is where I could fine tune it and get it to where I want it to be. Now here's the thing, when I get these lines done, that's called a cartoon. That's where we get the word cartoon. The outline of the image. The line work only is a cartoon. So you can do it with a simple picture. I'll show you one that I did based on our friend Salvador Dali with the crazy mustache. So you see how tiny the squares are on there. So here I've got my line work done. Now I would connect everything and fine tune it, get it to where I like it. And then I'm going to start using pencil or color, whatever I have, to fill it in. And I can use the picture that I copied to guide me in the color or the shading, or I can just do it on my own. It's up to you. Let me show you one that I did complete. So, here we go. You can make it as complicated as you like, or as simple as you like. So while I could see more detail in the background, I chose not to do the background in there. Okay. And then here's another one. This is Hedy Lamarr. She was a glamorous actress who was also an inventor. Do you use a cell phone? Thank this woman for cell phones. She had a lot to do with the technology that developed our cell phones. So this is a great project to do on your own or to do as a family. You could paint this on a wall if you wanted to. You could be inspired by Michelangelo and create a scene on a nice big wall if you have permission to do so. Let me show you one other thing. If you've got a picture that is in a book, and you can't do grids on it because it's in a book, what I recommend that you do is take your friend parchment paper and put that over your picture. Draw a grid on the parchment paper and you'll be able to see through it and do this. Okay, have fun with this. You could copy any of your favorite characters. You could create your own characters. You could take a picture you've done and enlarge it and make it much bigger. So have fun with this. And as always, teach this to your grown-ups. Thank you for visiting the locker, and I hope that this inspires you. I look forward to seeing you soon. Take care.